We live? Let's see. Ooh, I need to fix that. Well, how's it going, everybody? Everybody is having a great day. Let's see. Okay, it looks like I have everything up. We're back in the normal setup today, or what used to be normal. Now the other way is normal, but it's cloudy today. Yeah, this camera angle. Nope. Let's see if I can get in the middle. Hope everybody's having a good day. Once again, we're late, but that's fine. I don't even know how I want to go about today. What the best course of action would be. I have no idea. The zone is completely flooded. I mean, just completely. Shout out the bot in the Kick chat. Awesome stuff there. I don't know. Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. Good Maudie Thursday. But yeah, the zone is completely flooded. There's so much going on. It's impossible to keep up with at this point. I mean, absolutely impossible. I had to bring a water just because I know today is it's gonna be a long one. Probably should have brought a bigger one. Oh, and more stuff keeps coming. More and more stuff. I mean, just absolutely impossible to keep up with. We're going to do our best today. Make sure everybody's dropping a like, sharing the stream if you would. I don't know how long this is going to go today. Wow, more and more stuff. I mean, more and more stuff every time I look. It's been this way since last night, honestly. Whatever that speech was, once again. I mean, it feels like we're in Bizarro world. It really does. I mean, yeah. There's no way we can get through everything today, but we're going to try our hardest. I probably don't even have the mental capacity to understand everything going on. I'm sure you guys don't. Today is Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. Happy Maudie Thursday. This is episode number 80 of Addressing the Issues. Let's jump right into it. You're right, MSJ, my favorite subscriber. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Helps me out a lot. Helps fund this very fun show. Shows that, oh my goodness, so fun. Okay, so yesterday, the Artemis 2 successfully launched. There's a little bit of a communications mishap, I believe it was telemetry before the start. It postponed it a few minutes, but it took off. It was pretty cool, especially the lead up to it. Quite touching. They're talking about doing it for their families, doing it for their country, for humanity. In the moments before takeoff, it was really cool to watch. Really, really awesome. Hit us with the full send for right before liftoff. One of the last things we heard while they were on Earth. Full send. It was kind of awesome. I got to watch it. I guess I could share the link to that. Let me see if I can find that. I got to see it in person. I have it posted on X right now. I guess right now, indefinitely. I'll drop the link to it in the chat. If anybody wants to watch that at some point or another. That is not what I wanted. Okay, let's see if I can get the link this time. There it is. I'll put it in YouTube too. Oh, did it go into YouTube from... Oh, that was cool. That was really cool. Yeah, it went automatically in the YouTube if I did it, since I did it in the Rumble chat. So if you're on Kick, it's at Samuel_S_Jones. If you want to watch my video from where I was watching it from the Artemis 2 launch. But while I was out there, I noticed a couple of things. It was like a surreal moment for people, I guess, in Florida, probably humanity in general. But right before I noticed, all the cars were pulling off the street, getting out, staring towards the launch site. Keep in mind, I'm 200 miles away, roughly, from Cape Canaveral. I believe it was Merritt Island, actually, but same area. 200 miles away, people are stopping their cars, pulling over, staring into the sky. People walking out of their homes, their apartments, bringing their kids playing, kids in strollers, couples, people just watching by themselves like I was, pulled over their cars on the way home from work and just stared into the sky for a few minutes. And I could tell, like, this was a historical moment. This was a moment of unity everybody needed right now. It was something we Americans needed, was just a moment to not only be in awe, but to all stand behind one thing, which was these 4 astronauts going to the moon. So, or around the moon, not even landing on it, just around the moon. It was such a cool moment and a necessary moment for us as Americans right now. With all the noise going on in the world, around the world, we had a few moments just to stand there in silence. The cars were turned off. People were just looking into the sky, looking at this moment of historic human achievement. It was awesome to see. I wish I could have captured like a 360 around what I was witnessing. Not only just the rocket, but the people who just stopped for a moment. Just stopped and looked up in awe. It was really awesome. If only we could get a few more of those moments where everybody just stops and we witness history in a not awful way, just like one of the pillars of human achievement type of history. Not stopping because tragedy, but stopping to witness something good. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It just shows you how great the Earth can be. And then you step away from that moment and you get right back to all the tragedies going on. But it was a great moment. I hope everybody got a chance to watch it, whether in person or on the internet. I believe there was like 2 million concurrent viewers at the time on the YouTube page, at least when I saw people from all around the world tuning in for a rocket launch out of Florida. I mean, it's awesome. It's truly awesome. There was another problem. It's now being reported that the space toilet on Artemis 2 is jammed. Guess you could call that a shitty situation. But they're working on a way to unjam the fan. Must have had one heck of a last meal if you are... First thing you do when you get on the rocket is jam the space toilet fan. But, you know, it is what it is. It was an awesome moment. I hope they don't have to call back the mission because of that. But they're trying to work through that problem. I guess even in all the awesomeness which was that rocket launch yesterday, there is also problems such as the space toilet. I mean, how do you blow up the space toilet that quickly? You got to think, I'm going to be on here for like 10 days. And the first thing you do is make it miserable for everybody else. But now we're going to move on from that moment of history, human achievement, moment the Earth honestly stood still in the best sense possible, to what else has been going on in the last 24 hours. I guess I'm proud to report, happy to, a moment I've been waiting for. Pam Bondi, you're fired. Pam Bondi was fired today. Apparently this was for allegedly tipping off California Representative Eric Swalwell regarding a future release of FBI files related to his relationship with Fang Fang, the communist Chinese spy. Honestly, if this is the case, I think it's incredible that this is the instance that gets her fired. It wasn't amounting 0 deep state arrests in an entire year, over a year now. It wasn't fumbling more prosecutions than a human can count. It wasn't replacing her own desk with a black hole where justice goes to die. It was tipping off Eric Swalwell that the FBI was going to release the Fang Fang files. I mean, this is the one. All of these other options, all these places along the way where she should have been fired, could have been fired, and the one that matters is tipping off Representative Eric Swalwell that the Fang Fang files are about to drop. I mean, incredible stuff. Flood the zone. I mean, it's so frustrating. We're going to get deep state arrest. She doesn't arrest anybody in the deep state, but she gets fired for tipping off Eric Swalwell about the Fang Fang files. This should tell you a lot about this administration. It told me a lot. It's not about promises. It's strictly about loyalty to Donald Trump. That's what it seems like now. But now Todd Blanche will be taking over as the acting attorney general. If you're not familiar with Todd Blanche, it's been reported that he's been the main roadblock holding up prosecutions of the former Biden officials, state-level politicians who are corrupt, Antifa terrorists. It's also been reported that he was the one who personally shut down the Department of Justice's weaponization task force. He's also allegedly responsible for sidelining Ed Martin, who actually wanted to go after all this stuff. So it's not really good he's in charge right now. It truly isn't. He is, at best, a deep state protector, a protector of this deep state, which is apparently so bad, yet he is now the acting attorney general. Now, who will we have replace Pam Bondi? There's rumors of multiple people right now. We're not exactly sure who it's going to be. There's also the question of getting the new Attorney General confirmed to replace the acting Attorney General, which needs to happen sooner rather than later. I just don't know that Trump is ever going to get anybody confirmed, at least probably not before midterms, which would be a huge problem. His own party is acting against him right now. Some of which for good reasons, some of which for their own personal gain. But he's going to have to get somebody confirmed, and I don't see how he's going to do it before the midterms as of right now, with the disconnect between Republicans in Congress and Donald Trump, President Trump. I don't know how he's going to get it done before midterms, and then after midterms, there's no way he's going to get his pick. It's going to have to be somebody approved by all the Democrats which will be taking over Congress come November. I think if he wanted to make this move, it should have been probably months ago. It definitely should have been months ago. But we've waited until now. Congress isn't even in session right now, so there's no way they can get it confirmed, and he's got to pick somebody. This is a disaster. We're watching a disaster unfold in real time. And we just froze. Awesome. We'll be right back. I love how that happens all the time now. All the time. I thought I had it fixed for a while. I truly did. I truly thought I had it fixed. Let's see if we can get this stuff back up. Okay. Looks like these are back up. Is Kick back up? Kick is back up. Where was I? Talking about the disaster unfolding in real time that we're watching. Waited too late to replace these people. Truly did. And now Congress is against you. They're going to be even more so against you come the end of, or the beginning of next year. I don't know how he's going to get anybody confirmed. Anybody. I mean, I guess you can pick somebody who is the deep state, and they will easily get confirmed, and that's probably what's going to happen. It seems like this whole presidency has been co-opted by the deep state, which is not great. It's not great at all. Regarding this, Trump is also polling his advisors about replacing Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. This has been reported today. So we're looking to replace not only Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, who was I thinking? Person below Tulsi Gabbard that resigned recently. What's his name again? I'm blanking. Joe Kent. Replacing Joe Kent. I mean, and you've got, what is it? Basically 7 months left. Probably more realistically 6 months left. And Congress is going to be out on vacation most of the time for campaigns, getting nothing done. I mean, I guess try and turn everybody over and have something new, fresh, and effective going into the second half of the term. I don't see how this is going to work out. I don't think it's going to work out well at all. And the only way that these people are going to get through is if they are the exact same deep state you said you were going to oust previously. There's also another firing today. Pete Hegseth has fired Army Chief of Staff General Randy George. Guess not technically fired, not in the same sense as Pam Bondi, but he's having him step down and take immediate retirement. It's expected that the current Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, General Christopher LaNevy, will be taking this role. He was formerly Hegseth's military aide, and he's also previously served as the commanding general of the Army's 82nd Airborne Division. Lots of stuff going on with the 82nd Airborne, so I think it would make sense to have him step up. The same men that he's commanded will be the ones going into this new broadening Iran war. It's getting bigger. Whatever mess was said last night, most of it wasn't true. There were some true things. We'll get into that later, but it was a mess last night. I don't know who advised him to make that address. It must have been Obama. I haven't seen anything like that since Afghanistan and Iraq were going terribly under the Obama administration, and we'd have an Obama fireside chat. That's what we got last night. We'll get into that later. So 2 powerful people were fired today. Tulsi Gabbard is apparently up for firing as well. So just interesting times in the White House. And I have no idea how they're expecting to replace all these people, get them confirmed by Congress, unless they are worse. And that's likely what's going to happen. We'll get the deep state actually in power again. Absolute reversal of what the whole goal here was. There's also an interesting story right now, headline story. It should be much bigger than it currently is. But it's that foreign central banks have sold U.S. Treasuries in the wake of the Iran war. The international official holdings at the New York Federal Reserve have fallen to their lowest level since 2016. If you don't recall, 2016 was not a great time for American money. This was right after the 2008 financial crisis. And it's looking, everything points to another financial crisis. I'm no economist, but everything's pointing to it, and it'll be likely a direct result, at least the happenings of so are a direct result of this Iran war. That's something to keep an eye on, especially with people trading yuan for petroleum in the Middle East, people selling off bonds in the U.S. Treasury. Money's low in the Treasury, so what can we do? Probably print more, create more inflation is the likely response to this. Increase, increase mortgage prices. This is the likely response. Create inflation, and then in turn, up interest rates. So it's not looking good. Not looking good at all. Not an economist, but I think anybody can see the writing on the walls here. We are, full speed ahead off the financial cliff right now. Full speed ahead. There's also some other interesting things going on. There was Operation Never Say Die. This has been reported that FBI agents, alongside President Trump's task force, which is led by future presidential hopeful J.D. Vance, have taken down a massive hospice and healthcare fraud ring today. They've been making arrests, conducting search warrants around Los Angeles. This is interesting. There's been lots of independent reporting about California right now. I think most of it has been spearheaded once again by Nick Shirley. There's also been work done by James O'Keefe in California recently. But it's been a huge focus after the Minnesota thing. They were like, well, it's worse in California. You get there, and it's much worse than you could even expect. Right now, they have 11 defendants, which are accused of fraud. The dollar amount total is allegedly around 50 million, probably more. And that's just from what they've arrested today. If you don't recall, the fraud in Minnesota was everywhere. I'm sure it's like that in California. I guess I would expect it to be like that in California, given the corrupt nature of the state. Given Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill that would audit these companies, audit the fraud in California. It was vetoed by the governor. So that should give you at least an idea of how bad it is when the governor says, it's so bad I don't want to even know about it. It means it's probably pretty bad. 11 arrests so far. Probably, I mean, if you got everybody arrested in California for this, they'd probably lose a few electoral votes. It's so bad. I guess if you got them for felony fraud, but that's a whole nother question. I mean, if you got everybody in California, in Minnesota, shoot, I mean, anywhere in the country, they lose half their voting population, probably. I mean, that's what it looks like from the outside looking in. I don't know. Fraud in this country is so bad. It's so bad, and we're okay with covering it up, okay with paying into it continually, while our nation is towing the line of 40 trillion in debt. We've got to clean up the money problems. There was also in another story, there's also been the Easter lunch at the White House, completely bizarre as well. You've got Trump being compared to Jesus at an Easter event. This is was done by Paula White Cain, hyphenated last name, allegedly a pastor, televangelist, and Trump's spiritual advisor. I don't want to get too far into this, but she is absurd, just completely absurd. Calling a president Jesus-like is beyond me. I'm not going to get into the whole women leading churches thing, but it's a bad look. She needs to be as far away from the White House as possible. Like, just keep her away. Don't inflate his ego right now, especially right now, with comparisons to the holiest person of all time. Just, the two need like a restraining order mandated by the public. Like, absolutely absurd stuff spewed out of her mouth all the time. And she goes up to the president and says, "Oh, you're doing great. You're like Jesus." And it's like, no. This is worse than the occult. I'd rather have like somebody telling me he's like gonna make Baal happy, make Moloch happy, than what's going on there. I mean, and maybe that's what this whole thing is. I don't know. Bizarro world going on at the White House right now, and that continued last night with the address to the nation. It started off reasonable appreciation to the Artemis II team, like we said earlier. Completely historic moment. They need their appreciation. They deserve it, especially if they're going to be stuck on there for 10 days with no working toilet. It's going to be a shitty time. But then we get into the Iran war part. Bizarre. I mean, I was at a loss for words. I couldn't fathom just the say one thing, say something completely opposite the next minute, and then expect everybody to go along with it. It was called an operation at the beginning, Operation Epic Fury. And then just a operation, which is compared to being the most successful operation in the history of warfare. It's not war, but it is warfare. I mean, just completely redundant things, just silly stuff. He claimed it was going on for 47 years. I suppose now that we've just been 2 weeks away from victory for 47 years now, weeks away from a nuclear weapon for 47 years, I guess. I mean, it was a bizarre moment that he was having up there. There was also his claim that we've allegedly found out that Iran could soon have a missile that could reach the American homeland. Which I don't know where they've gotten this from. Bizarre because they didn't have a missile that could reach most of Europe for forever, and now it's claimed that they could hit Diego Garcia, which is a little bit further, but they could barely get the missile there, and now it's coming all the way to the American homeland. I don't know what alien they're talking to about rocket technology, but apparently it's a pretty good one if every week these missiles double in range, which is what it seems to be passed from the president to the American people. I mean, I guess maybe they're talking to China and getting missiles from them, getting missile technology from Russia, North Korea maybe. But I find it absurd that from the beginning of this war, half of France was safe from missile impacts. Now we're talking about them hitting major cities in the U.S. within a month. I don't believe it. I don't think you should as well. It was also claimed that we now have objectives in this war. We've finally figured out a month in what the objectives were. The objectives were systemically dismantling the ability for Iran to project power. The objectives are now eliminating the Navy, hurting their Air Force, and annihilating their defense industrial base. So now the core mission is nearing completion. I thought we had already won. Maybe we haven't. Maybe we're near completion. We get back to the short-term pain mantra of this administration that, oh, this will make it better for forever. If you just tank $5 a gallon gas prices for a couple of weeks. He says that the gas price increase was due to Iran targeting oil tankers and production of neighbors. I believe I've heard of one oil tanker being targeted so far by Iran. Most of them aren't even in the Iran theater of combat. They're closer to the Ukraine-Russia war. So I found that rather interesting, that this was all put on Iran, even though we have no correlation to most of these oil tankers that were destroyed being done by Iran. Production of neighbors, energy production of neighbors. Yes, we've seen that. We've seen that in many of the Arab countries. It's claimed that we haven't done it to Iran, but if you watched anything, our, I guess, alliance has done the exact same thing to Iran, bombing out their oil production as well. But, it's just a little bit of short-term pain, not to mention that these refineries are going to take years to build back, and get to full production once again. There was the claims that we have the strongest economy in history again, so I was right. He was going to pump himself up again, make himself feel good, and then he also repeated the claim that we were a crippled and dead country. So, like, what does this make right now? These are like those little like palpitations and twitches right before you completely roll over and die is what this feels like. We're giving our last breath right now before we shit our pants and croak. That's what it feels like. Making this analogy, this can't be the strongest economy in history, based on the fact that we haven't reindustrialized America. It's all propped up on this AI bubble, which is going to pop as soon as energy can't be provided anymore. These are like our last dying croaks, and we're spending them in the Middle East fighting a war with Iran, hurting ourselves even more. It's like our last twitch. We're going to like stab ourselves in the heart at the end of all this. I mean, this speech was ridiculous. He should have just shut up and just not done anything, not gone on air, and just answered questions at press conferences, doing the standard, and then give us our little posts on the weekend to pump back up the stock market before it crashes on Monday. He also says called other nations to join in taking back the strait, because obviously everybody else has been keeping themselves out of it. They said, we don't want to be involved. We don't want to be hit by missiles, become a nuclear target in the future. They don't want to put themselves as targets in the Strait of Hormuz, which was closed because of U.S. and Israeli actions, Arab actions as well, I guess, in a sense. That they're calling for other nations to join in this, because it is hurting. It's hurting Asia with price of oil. It's eventually going to hurt, or I guess ability to get oil. It's going to eventually hurt Europe. Not as bad. They can go through Russia, propping up a Russian economy that wasn't doing great before the war, was getting worse during it, and now they're allowed to sell energy again to anybody. I mean, it's an absolute mess. Then he made the claim, like the horrifying claim, every time he says it, I like wince. It says, the stock market is doing much better than I would have thought. Every time I hear that, I like visibly convulse. I'm just like, well, it could be doing a lot better. It could be above, 50,000, and we would have never had the Pam Bondi conversation. That's what you should be caring about. The stock market's above 50,000 points right now. But she's fired, so I guess that's great. But if it was doing good, we'd probably be at 50, 51 right now, maybe 52 if you're feeling hopeful. No, we want to tank it down to 45,000 and then say, oh, it's doing better than I would have thought. I would have thought, given his rhetoric during the campaign, that it'd be at like 55,000 points right now, but obviously my concerns aren't the same as his. And he claimed we were on track to complete all of Americans' military goals shortly, before claiming that we're going to hit them hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 more weeks of this is not a good omen. It started at 4 days. A month later, it's 2 to 3 more weeks. In a year, what is it going to be, like 3 to 5 more years? I mean, not a good omen right there. Then he talks about the future of the war, which would be possibly hitting their electric generating plants. That ceasefire is set to be over on April 6th, Monday, where they would begin to target electric generating plants, could possibly target oil. And then he talks about how the nuclear sites were hit so hard it would take months to get near the nuclear dust. I thought they were destroyed a year ago, but now they're destroyed this time, allegedly. And that they are under satellite watch to ensure nobody goes near them. It's claimed that if they try to touch it, they'll be hit even harder. Then he goes on to talk about how the country has been eviscerated and is essentially no longer a threat. People in the Middle East say otherwise, as they are still getting hit by missiles and drones while this speech is going on, literally. But they're no longer a threat, and that we look forward to a day where we are free from Iran. We've been free from Iran since the inception of this country, believe it or not. They've never actually been a threat. Not now. Probably wouldn't have been for a few more years, and now we get into this war, which has essentially gone on for a year now. I mean, 1 month of kinetic war, but you have to think back to the 12 Days War and how that spirals into this, meaning what was the middle point? A small ceasefire, a short-term ceasefire in a longer scale war. That's what it seems like to me. But maybe one day we'll be free from Iran, hopefully, like we have been for 250 years. And then it was claimed that the U.S. will be safer, stronger, and more prosperous from this war. I'm not sure exactly who he's talking about when I look at the gas price. In the more prosperous sense, we've been safe for forever since it. I don't know how we're going to be stronger once we've depleted all of our defensive and offensive capabilities in this mess. And I don't know how we're going to be more prosperous after paying it all back, but that's the messaging right now. But this is full-fledged flood the zone misinformation campaign to a T. Once again, this happens once the Trump presidency. Last time it happened, we shut down the world for a year. And this time, we are sleepwalking into likely what seems at this point to be a forever war, another forever war, just due to the nature of what we're fighting against. But that was the gist of this speech. It was flooding the zone with information, taking over control of the population, trying to get them to submit to this misinformation, malinformation, disinformation, whatever you want to call it. Get them to consent further into this war. Give them a time frame of 2 to 3 weeks. It doesn't seem like too long. You can kind of think how far away that is. But if he were to say, oh, it's going to be months, you get worried. You're like, well, I don't know how I'm going to fill up my car. I don't know if I'll be at the same job in a couple of months, but 2 to 3 weeks, you're like, all right, that sounds all right. And then when 2 to 3 weeks rolls around, just like 4 days has rolled around in the past, and it's still going on, you're going to be like, and then we'll get the next time frame, and then the time frame after that. And it's probably going to get a little bit larger every single time as, oh, we found out that this, we found out that, we found out we've got to go to this new base where they might be making missiles. We've got to go find this dude in a cave. I bet you can get that reference. And then it goes on for 20 years, and then we pull out with a guy that's asleep at the wheel after someone who seemingly is asleep at the wheel drove us into it. But you've got to think about this rationally, in the sense of how long this will go, who is actually in power at the negotiating table. Because I don't know that the U.S. is. We have demonstrated superiority on so many levels to Iran, yet they are unwilling to come to the table. They said that we're not talking about peace. They want this to continue. We're the ones who want to come out. So you've got to think who's actually holding the cards in this high-stakes game of war. And you've got to think about who's getting hurt worse in this thing. Economically, Iran's been ruined for years. But we are ruining ourselves to the point of Iran right now in this. We're spending way more money than them. They make rockets in caves. We spend billions and millions of dollars to intercept them. It's been reported like 7,000 on drones. And we spend like 15 million in what it takes to counter them per shot. I guess not per shot, but per drone coming in, we have to send 2 or 3 missiles back at it. Reports of up to 8. That'd put the ballpark to take down a $7,000 drone closer to like $30 to $40 million. So who's getting hurt economically? Well, Iran can't be hurt economically anymore, and we've actually removed the sanctions. They're getting more money now than they ever had from oil, at least per barrel, per trade. They're getting more money per barrel and then getting $2 million on top of that to let them through the strait. If it wasn't the case that they felt that they were in a position of power, they'd be screaming and begging to surrender. They wouldn't be okay with being shot by missiles, drones all day in their cities, towns, their schools, their orphanages, their infrastructure, you name it. It'd be saying, we surrender, we surrender. But they're not. So obviously they see this as something to gain. They're doing damage to the U.S. economy. They're doing damage to the global economy, the economy that's held them a pariah for years. They're just giving us the same pain back. They're damaging us through economic shock. Going to the gas station and gas is $4 a gallon as a national average. Different place to place, obviously. Taxes, stuff like that. But you see that, you're going to see the price of food going up. You're going to see less food in general, and then you're going to be like, wow, this kind of sucks. And Iran's been going through it for how long? I mean, probably my whole lifetime. So we're just now feeling the pain that they've felt for a long time. So they feel like they are in the position of power. They feel like they are in the driver's seat, and that's why they're not giving up yet. That's why they're not giving up yet. And if we do want to find a way to get into a peace negotiation, an agreement where we're going to stop, y'all are going to stop, we have to demonstrate that we can make Israel stop as well, which has been a problem since the 12-day war into now. We have to make sure that they stop, because I don't know if you remember, as soon as we signed this, we're not going to target electrical plants till April 6th, this 10-day ceasefire. That night, Israel is bombing the electrical infrastructure in Iran. So we're going to have to prove somehow that they're going to stop, which is going to be a lot harder than anyone is willing to imagine. I mean, we couldn't control them at the start of this war either. It was said that they were the ones that were going to attack with or without the U.S., and the U.S. knew that the U.S. would get a response from Iran. So we haven't been able to control them in the start of this. But if we reach any agreement whatsoever, I mean, in all reality, if you look at the pattern of events, like 30 minutes after it's signed, Israel's going to go bomb them, and then we're right back into it, square one, on a peace plan, because now we've once again demonstrated that either A, we hold no power in this relationship, or B, we're bad actors and acting in bad faith, and they are less inclined to sign it in general. So every time this happens, it gets harder and harder to make a peace plan. I mean, how many more times is this going to happen? We sign a peace plan, we go back a year later, less than a year later. It makes it so much harder every single time to find a peace agreement, find common ground, and be able to demonstrate it. I don't support your cause, sir. Thank you. I don't support what's going on in general either, so I think we're in agreement. Unless you're like, full war hawk, then Lindsey Graham is calling. He says he wants you to join him on a mission. Let's see. Where else are we at? Must be is addressing the nation. Thank you, I am. I'm just going off of what he said yesterday, the lies, the misinformation he was spreading. It was kind of funny. Wasted 20 minutes of everybody's life for the same thing that's been going on for forever. Iraq 2.0. But I guess this is the point where we've either got to make an official agreement with Israel with an alliance or not. Truly. There's no other option. Either we're going to be with them or not. We have to decide, and we have to be able to bind them to an agreement to act in our favor or benefit at the end of this, making sure that they don't continue to make things worse for us in negotiating, drag us into wars. But instead, this elusive agreement we have with Israel is allowing them to go off and start these wars, make negotiations more difficult. It's like, honestly, our relationship, it's like being the guy in an abusive relationship, and our girl beats us, she cheats on us, and then at the end of it, we're supposed to apologize and say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not good enough. But we don't know how to walk away. We can't just say, I'm out, this is over. We apologize to them for them beating us. I mean, this is what this relationship feels like. But yeah, we've got to figure out, are we going to be allied with Israel? We've got to figure out how to bind them to this agreement. I mean, I have no objection to having a formal alliance with them, but we can't have this mythical alliance where it always turns out negatively in our favor and they do whatever they want, because it's not a good relationship. It's toxic. There's also news yesterday that the president was reportedly briefed by the Pentagon on a plan to extract this uranium before the address last night on Iran. So there's rumors of how this would be done. I think I'm going to name it Operation Epstein Fury. So hold on. Before we get into Operation Epstein Fury, I'll talk to y'all. What do you think about the war in Iraq right now? Not much of a war in Iraq per se. In Iran, we are in a war with Iran. Iraq is helping Iran currently. Not a good sign as more and more countries get into what is supposed to be a military operation. It's not a good idea. It's not a good omen for the future if more and more people keep joining in. It's going to be very hard to get out once you get 3 countries, 4 countries, 8 countries, 12 countries, you get a world war. Where does Qatar fit into all of this? I mean, they give us lots of money. Not me. I don't get anything from Qatar. What do you call it? Not allegedly. Allegedly, I receive all my money from Qatar. No, they gave us what, a couple billion, trillion? Were they the $100 billion deal or one of the $1 trillion deals at the beginning of the Trump presidency? I can't remember right now. But I don't know. We needed the money. We're a broke country, only 40 trillion in debt almost. And then we've got this other one. It says we're giving up on NATO to attach ourselves to Israel. I mean, giving up on NATO just makes sense. They suck. They don't help us with anything. They don't come to anybody's defense. We've seen that with Poland. We've seen that with Turkey already in the last year or so. Now, if we could reach an agreement with Israel where they act in our favor and we don't just act as a abused spouse to them, I could see something going on there. I mean, they allegedly want to unify the Middle East, whether that be through their Greater Israel Project, which I don't support. I think is completely blasphemous, but as long as they don't do that and they actually unify the Middle East and people will trade with one another, aren't bombing each other all the time, I mean, I'm not against it. I don't think anybody would be. 6-7 billion trillion dollars. That's a lot of money. Yeah, that is a lot of money. It's like $1 bajillion right there. We'll move back into this alleged war plan that Trump has received from the Pentagon before the address last night. I guess this is how the next 2 to 3 weeks are going to be spent. But they're planning on flying what is believed to be the 82nd Airborne into the heart of Iran, central Iran, having them create a runway in the middle of a conflict, create basically a place to land. I believe it was C-130s to extract this uranium, flying in heavy equipment, extracting the uranium from possibly, more than likely, booby-trapped tunnels, getting it safely contained, and then moving this uranium out from these bombed-out tunnels into this plane on a runway that's being built in the heart of Iran during a conflict, and flying all of this out while taking ballistic missile and drone fire the entire time. That's what the plan allegedly entails. Something, I mean, even Top Gun couldn't imagine. Apparently this is what the plan was that he was briefed on. But we're going to call this plan Operation Epstein Fury. Probably at the same time, you're going to have these allies that come to help the U.S., allegedly UAE, allegedly other nations, maybe NATO countries, probably not. They all seem to want to stay out of this. But whoever comes in to help with the opening of the Strait of Hormuz are probably going to be taking back what are considered occupied islands by Iran. These are the Abu Island. I keep forgetting what that one is. And then Greater and Lesser Tomb. Abu Musa. Abu Musa is the island. One of the 3. Probably going to try and take these 3 islands. Split attention between taking Iranian territory in the Strait of Hormuz, opening the Strait of Hormuz, while at the same time flying apparently special forces in behind enemy lines and extracting uranium from collapsed storage facilities. It seemed, I mean, absolutely crazy plan. I mean, anything but the Epstein files, anything but those. we'll go fly a whole bunch of troops into a death trap in the middle of Iran before we prosecute anybody for diddling minors. Absolutely crazy. Google says Qatar invested 1.2 trillion in the US. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I wish we would have used it to like reindustrialize instead of deindustrializing Iran. Wouldn't that have been like a novel idea? We could do like $1.2 trillion in fixing our bridges, building back the one that was hit by a ship in Baltimore. What was that, Francis Scott Key Bridge? Maybe we could build that one back. Maybe we could patch the potholes on I-95. I'd be appreciative over that. Maybe even make some new roads. I think you could probably do all of the above with $1.2 trillion. Rebuild I-40 that's been down the 2 lanes since the hurricane came through like 2 years ago now, or I guess a year and a half. I mean, so much more could have been done than investing it all into blowing up Iran, but making gas prices higher. I don't know, that's the art of the deal, isn't it? That's what we call the art of the deal. NATO countries don't want to expend any effort or money, but they'll accept the benefits of a nuke-free Iraq. Well, Iraq was told to have weapons of mass destruction as well. No, I'm kidding. I know you're talking about Iran. Yeah, I mean, of course they don't. They don't want to address any issues whatsoever. They don't want to figure out their refugee crisis. They don't want to make life better for their own people. I think they're probably more corrupt than California or Minnesota in the sense of taking money for themselves. I mean, the politicians there, you've seen the stuff from Ukraine, the golden toilet next to the golden bidet with the golden Lamborghini driving around in the middle of a war that has completely bankrupted your country to the point where you have to have the U.S. send you all your weapons. I mean, they're just corrupt people. Corrupt governments all across the world. I mean, it'd make sense one day we just voted all these people out, just everybody, just all in the primary. Nobody left, just all new people that actually stand up for their constituents, or hopefully will. Seems less and less likely by the day. I think getting power just does something to you. You become incredibly corrupted, and you forget everything that anybody's ever done for you before in your life. But there's also more news about this war coming out today. The IRGC has claimed that it shot down a U.S. fighter jet over Qasem Island. It's only a couple $1 billion into the ocean, probably. So, not a good expenditure of money there. Iran is also blown up an Oracle data center in Dubai. This is out, like literally yesterday I was telling you these companies are now legitimate targets to Iran. Today, an Oracle data center explodes in Dubai. I think this is going to be a long string of events similar to this in the Middle East. All 18 of those companies are probably now massive targets because they know it hurts the U.S. economically. They're not going to win in the sense of killing everybody in the U.S. They're going to win in the sense of making it incredibly painful for our economy. And that's a win for them. I mean, that's why, this should have never happened. We're playing right into their hand right now. I guess as another result of this speech last night, people bought oil futures like there was no tomorrow last night. Oil is now, up 12% today. We're right back at $1.12 per barrel. Stock market tanked this morning. It rebounded throughout the day. It's only down 0.16 at close today. 0.13 actually. At an old number. Even dropped a little bit after 4. That's a little suspicious. But yeah, tanked down like 500 points at opening today. Everybody was like, oh, it's time to get out after that speech, proving it was a disaster. I mean, the first thing people did this morning, sell off stocks and buy oil futures. I mean, the absolute opposite goal of what that was last night. He wanted to calm everybody's fears and instantly backfires at 9 in the morning. I mean, instantly, like during the speech, people are buying oil futures. I mean, absolute silly speech last night. It did everything you didn't want it to do. Here's a new one. U.S. is now allegedly bombing Iran's infrastructure right now, so that April 6th deadline didn't matter at all to anybody, did it? There's also rumors of the ground invasion this weekend. I think that's what I outlined as Operation Epstein Fury. They're sending over, I believe it was last night, a electronic warfare plane, never been used before. First use in U.S. history, is now in Iran more than likely. It was flying over last night. What else has been going on? Representative Luna has asked Secretary Hegseth for the list of the UAP files, including footage. I mean, I don't know. The whole alien thing just seems like a sidetrack right now. I always thought they'd be a much bigger problem in my life than they have been so far, even if they are crossbreeding with humans in a lab somewhere. Just weird stuff with the aliens. Let's see. Is there anything else I missed? Oh, Asian markets, I guess today, from last night's speech, have tanked as well. They are in full panic. What else has been going on? Our greatest ally has left troops out of bomb shelters, saying there's not room for them right now. So while they are hiding in the bomb shelters, apparently U.S. soldiers are hiding in ditches in Israel from missiles. So that's neat. Yeah, apparently the EA-37B Compass call was routed to the Middle East. Its capabilities are all classified, but it is electronic warfare, said to be able to jam radar, spoof radar, all the sorts. Everything you'd need for a furtherance of the massive military operation into Iran. Let's see, what else have we gotten? Oh, I'm not even in the right place anymore. What else has been? There's rumors right now that Kash Patel's next on the chopping block. I think I saw that right at the beginning. I mean, today has been an absolute whirlwind, an absolute flood the zone tactic. Is there anything else that is inherently necessary for you guys to know? Oh, here we go. Israel struck the home of a senior Iranian leader, somebody who is working on negotiations through Pakistan. Pakistan's been channeling most of these negotiations to and from, playing the intermediary role between Iran and the U.S. This negotiator is allegedly seriously wounded, killed his wife, meaning peace talks are going well, I guess. I mean, it's every day that this stuff happens now. It's like, Israel hears we have a negotiator dead, 20 minutes later. I mean, we can't be tight-lipped enough on this stuff. Because they all end up dead. All these negotiators end up dead. It's been this way for basically a year now. Well, actually, yeah, it does. I mean, the same thing happened at the start of the 12-Day War in Qatar. I mean, I don't know. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh, there's the whole DC pipe bomber case is truly falling apart. Nobody thinks they have the right, at least I don't think they have the right guy anymore. All the evidence points to the person that actually did it now works for the federal government, Capitol Police officer. I mean, apparently she failed a polygraph test. It says, did you place those pipe bombs, and did you place those pipe bombs that evening? 2 questions, failed a polygraph test. This is the person who they thought they got with gait analysis, I believe back in December. It's not Brian Cole Jr. or whatever. It's not him. He doesn't even have the right body style, body proportions to be the person. But it's more likely this person who can't pass a simple polygraph test. Asking 2 questions that everybody else in the world would pass with flying colors. If you got asked, did you place pipe bombs on the Capitol? Could you pass the polygraph test? I'd hope so. I'd hope you aren't lying. But I don't know. What else is going on? Apparently Lindsey Graham's allegedly following around little girls with a princess wand at Disney. Neat stuff. What else has been going on? A St. George statue was bulldozed in a Christian Lebanese village 2 days ago, so that's neat. Attack on Christianity is going splendidly. Then I spent a long time trying to verify this report. Nobody has said that it's false, but there's a long line of U.S. soldiers in an airport terminal, allegedly in the Middle East, allegedly in the UAE, with their insignia removed. I don't know if this is the 82nd Airborne that is expected to have just arrived or not, but fully uniformed. And they're there just, I guess, waiting to go in now. So that was an interesting story. I tried to figure out what airport it was. I couldn't figure out which one it was. So it may be completely false, but it would make sense that they have removed their insignia of what unit division they're in, because if they are the 82nd, you don't want them targeted before everything goes off. So there's that. There's a couple other things I'm probably missing. Nothing, I guess, more important than what I've informed you of so far. Let's check one more check through this stuff. Yeah, there's the Iranian diplomat. What else? Interesting. Hegseth has allegedly ended gun-free zones on U.S. military bases. I don't know how they're training with no guns, but I'm glad that they've learned that they can use guns to train for the military. Probably an important role in the whole thing. just, oh my goodness. The zone has been flooded today. We're going to end it here for the news part. I mean, just so much stuff. I mean, there's more than anybody could take in right now, and I'm exhausted. I'm sure you guys are exhausted as well. Fuel crisis. Just, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The zone is entirely flooded currently. And we are the people who are impacted by it. The truth is going to be very hard to find over these next 2 to 3 weeks, guys. It's going to be very hard to find. It's kind of crazy. We're going to get into the good news here in a second. Make sure you guys are dropping a like, following, subscribing, sharing, turning on notifications. I feel like I'm forgetting stuff. Sharing, clipping stuff if you found anything interesting. That's short form. There's always the opportunity to be my unpaid intern. Unpaid intern, if anybody is seeking that position. Help me out with making shorts, editing these in the short form content. What was I going to say just a minute ago? Oh, I'm completely blanking now. Oh well, it must not have been that important. Here's something I've noticed over the last couple of days. People around me are driving differently since this war started. They are like, I mean, imagine, I don't know how many of you have been to South Florida, but imagine people driving cautiously now, like more cautiously than ever. Like they're driving like they now have to be economically responsible. Even in South Florida, like I've never seen anything like this. People are down like 15 mile an hour on average. Like we're like 5 below the speed limit in general. Most driving, it's like people are like, it pains them to press the gas pedal all the way down. And I feel the same way. I entirely understand it. But I just thought that it's crazy that this war has gotten to the point where it's affecting people's driving. They're like, if I press the gas pedal too hard, I'm using more gas than I really need to, and it's going to come out of my wallet. If I crash, I'm going to have to pay for it, and I'm already broke, and I'm only going to get broker. I mean, it's actually incredible that this war has like made people drive legally, like with a legal conscience in their mind, with an economic conscience. That's how you know this isn't going well. When people in Florida stop breaking the law on the roads because they don't think they can afford it anymore. I mean, that's your biggest sign of an economic failure that you're ever going to get. People that normally drive every car like they've stolen them are now driving them like they're driving Miss Daisy. I mean, absolutely crazy. It's crazy to see. I've never seen anything like this in the time that I've lived here. Never seen anything like it. It's always, we're going 10 mile an hour over the speed limit. Right now, everybody's like, I can get there at like 30 mile an hour and it won't cost me as much. So I'm just going to drive 30 in this 40 mile an hour zone. Absurd, bizarre. That's how you know the economy's taking a hit, because people in South Florida are driving economically cautiously. But we'll get into the good news. I figured I would share that observation recently with you. The most damning evidence that the economy is going bad is South Florida drivers are driving like it actually cost them something to do so. But we'll get into the good news. Like I said at the beginning, I guess, did I even say that? I'm not even sure. Whatever, I told you. It's taken a lot out of me today. Let me make sure I'm at the right spot for this. Is this the one I wanted to do? I took a screenshot of it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. I did swap over to the right page before we started. But on this Maundy Thursday, we're going to go with John chapter 13. This is before the Passover feast, the last meal. But it reads, "It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love. The evening meal was being served, and the devil had already prompted Judas Iscariot, son of Simon, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into the basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, 'Lord, are you going to wash my feet?' Jesus replied, 'You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand.' 'No,' said Peter, 'you shall never wash my feet.' Jesus answered, 'Unless I wash you, you have no part with me.' Then Lord, Simon Peter replied, 'Not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well.' Jesus answered, 'A person who has had a bath only needs to wash his feet. His whole body is clean, and you are clean, though not every one of you.' For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said, 'Not everyone was clean.' When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. 'Do you understand what I have done for you?' he asked them. 'You called me teacher and Lord, and rightfully so, for that is what I am. Now I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet. You also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than his master, nor is his messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. I am not referring to all of you. I know those I have chosen, but this is to fulfill the scripture. He who shares my bread has lifted up his heel against me. I am telling you now before it happens, so that when it does happen, you will believe that I am he. I tell you the truth, whoever accepts anyone I send accepts me, and whoever accepts me accepts the one who sent me." After he said this, Jesus was troubled in spirit and testified, "I tell you the truth, one of you is going to betray me." His disciples stared at one another, at a loss to know which of them he meant. One of them, the disciple whom Jesus loved, was reclining next to him. Simon Peter motioned to this disciple and said, "Ask him which one he means." Leaning back against Jesus, he asked him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus answered, "It is the one whom I will give this piece of bread when I have dipped it in the dish." Then dipping the piece of bread, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, son of Simon. As soon as Judas took the bread, Satan entered into him. What you are about to do, do quickly," Jesus told him. But no one at the meal understood why Jesus said this to him. Since Judas had charge of the money, some thought Jesus was telling him to buy what was needed for the feast, or to give it something to the poor. As soon as Judas had taken the bread, he went out, and it was night. Is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him? Oh, sorry. When he was gone, Jesus said, now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will glorify the Son in himself, and will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and just as I told the Jews, so I tell you now, where I am going, you cannot come. A new command I give you. Love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Simon Peter asked him, Lord, where are you going? Jesus replied, where I am going you cannot follow now, but you will follow later. Peter asked, Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you. Then Jesus answered, will you really lay down your life for me? I tell you the truth, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. Heavy moment there. I guess the main question is, like it was yesterday, there's multiple through this. Are you honoring Jesus? Are you following him? Are you going to disown him? Hopefully you honor him, you follow him, you seek to follow him. But there will be moments in which you betray him, and those are the moments, that you will need to once again repent, once again ask for forgiveness. We're not perfect. There was one perfect person on this earth. His name was Jesus. He was God among men, and I guess tonight would mark the night of the Last Supper. The sacrifice he made for us is more than anybody can imagine, more than anyone can do, truly. So, thank him for his sacrifice. Hopefully you'll go to church this weekend, learn about it a little more. Go the next week after, learn about it a little more. I'm not a pastor. I just am attempting to spread the word, get people intrigued, get people to learn about God, learn about Jesus, follow God. It's the most important thing you can do on this earth. We can worry about politics on here all we want, worry about whether our team's going to win a national championship or not. And then one day, all of a sudden, it's going to mean absolutely nothing, truly. And what's going to matter is, did you live your life for Jesus? And if you can answer yes to that, at least from my understanding of the Bible, if you confide in him, if you give the honor to him, you ask him for forgiveness, you believe in him, you will be saved, from my understanding. But I think everybody needs to go make this understanding themselves. So I implore you this weekend, go in for Easter services. I'll be working for my Easter services at the church, and then I'll go to the last one. But I implore you guys to go to church, learn the good word, welcome God into your life, because at the end of this, it's not going to matter whether you understand politics, if you vote one way, vote another, if you stop a war in Iran or not. I'm not going to stop it. I can't. I'm not the one that has the power to do so. God does. But none of this is going to matter on Judgment Day. It truly isn't. The one thing that will matter is, have you given your life to Jesus? Is he your true Savior. And I hope that I can get at least one of you, hopefully everybody that's left in here, to take that step, to learn about God, to accept Him into your life. It makes your life a lot better, a lot less stress when you realize they can flood the zone all they want. They can send you off the war. They can make gas so expensive that it pains you physically putting your card into the pump. But all this is temporary. It really is. And the only thing that will be permanent can be permanent. The only permanent thing is heaven. It is permanent. I hope you all aspire to learn about God, to find true forever, because it's the only thing that's going to save you from this earth. You can have all the knowledge, all the money, all the power. Unless you ask to be saved by God, you won't be saved. You'll realize that all that temporary suffering just leads into more temporary suffering unless you do live your life for Him, give your life for Him. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm not a pastor. I'm just here to hopefully get you guys interested, hopefully go to church, even develop a deeper understanding myself, which is always great. But yeah, I hope you guys will go to church this Easter. If you do go to church, see if you can volunteer, bring more people, and invite somebody this Sunday. Spread the good word to them. Be a good friend and see if they want forever as well. It'll be fun, just hanging out with a buddy, going to church, get some lunch after. It's always a good time. Always a good time. But yeah, that's all we got for today. Make sure you guys are dropping a like, sharing. Hopefully you guys will go to church. I'll be back 4:45 tomorrow. At least that's the game plan. I need to schedule a couple of meetings coming up into the near future, so I might be missing some shows next week. Maybe one or two, maybe in the coming weeks. But I do need to schedule a few meetings regarding the show in general, business stuff, fun. But I do need to be doing that in the upcoming days, so that will be happening. So if I, for some reason, one day don't show up, don't be like, oh, he quit. It's like, no, I'm trying to make this show work even better than it already does. If you want that unpaid internship, get in contact. Really need some help out here, especially with all the stuff that's going on. Yeah, last call to action. Go to Easter Sunday. Go to church. Take in the good word. Learn the good news. Because we are surrounded with tons of bad news. There's one true good news, and you just gotta accept it. Let it into your heart. We'll be live tomorrow at 4:45. That's the plan. I can't think of anything else. Let's check one more thing. Okay. I think we've covered everything that we can cover. There's probably something new. Something new every moment today. We're just ending it here. Wrapping up the way we traditionally do. Happy Maundy Thursday, everybody. To my people on the East Coast, I hope you get home safe. To my people further west, I hope you finish up your workday strong and get home safe as well. Plan on being here tomorrow, so I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Thanks everybody for showing up today. Lots of people, lots to talk with. It was really fun. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a good evening.